Hello, everyone. It's Double Shine, and today's Gridmaster reveal is actually coming from TikTok. So that's fun. Shout out to whoever thought to check that. I'll skip the cat video, but yeah, we get a new Gridmaster task: obtain a unique reward from the Tombs of a Masket. So that's any purple, even it could be a light bearer. And your reward for getting this is going to be a raid mega rare voucher. So that means you could choose between a Scythe, a twisted bow, or a shadow as a reward for getting any purple from TOA, which is definitely a huge reward. Getting access to such a powerful weapon like this early. I mean, this is just like the level of power I think that you'll be able to obtain in Gridmaster is just going to be so much higher, I think, than any other leagues and a lot faster too. And I know that for so many people, actually going and getting a mega rare and then having to grind that out and then going dry is, it's always like a really unpleasant feeling. And I think that they added this is like a really nice way that, like, man, if first purple you hit, boom, there you go. You already have a mega rare weapon of your choice. The mega rare voucher was something that we saw in Raging Echoes League that was really cool because basically instead of just rolling like a Scythe, a Shadow, or a Twisted Bow, you could actually choose which one that you got as a reward, which was really cool. And it opened up a lot of region diversity. Obviously, in Gridmaster, we have access to the whole game, so that's not as much of an issue. But I still really like that this gives you that option of any of the three from going and doing Tombs of a Masket, which definitely has like the lowest barrier to entry to actually kind of get started and start sending some raids. Now, there's still a lot we don't know about this. Like, it's not even updated on the Gridmaster page. So we're just kind of going off this TikTok and what limited information there is available so far. Now, personally, I think this task makes for a very interesting kind of decision of when you actually want to go and start sending your first TOA. I think for a lot of people, Tombs of a Masket is going to be like a very big priority because of this. Because again, I mean, a mega rare weapon is just it's so powerful, it's so good, and it can kind of open up the rest of the PVM content in the game for you. The only thing that I'm kind of thinking about is the fact that you still do need to get a purple, right? Like you still need to hit the unique table, and we don't know the drop rates yet, right? We don't know any of that stuff, and as a result, I think it's really hard to say exactly where I would throw this into my route or like how early I would want to go for it. Just because with a lot of the other tasks, they're a little bit more deterministic. Like if you go and do them, you will get a reward for it. For example, killing the Major in the Inferno, you go and get that done, and you get the Slayer Master Power. But for this, the tricky part is the fact that there is a little bit more RNG involved to it, and that can be a bit more of like a risk to go early, and then maybe you will go several raids without getting any purple to drop at all, and that could be a bit of an issue. I think that decision making, whether or not you want to go early and try to gamble it, or whether or not you want to save this for a little bit later on and try to get a bit more like consistent, a bit more reliable power gains first. That's kind of the point of Gridmaster. I think that's a really big part of it because again, you have so many options as to how you want to work through the grid. And I think the more tiles that feel available to you right away, the more tiles that you feel like you could go for, you could rush for at the start, that's going to really make for more interesting strategies and more decision making on your part as to what you actually want to focus on and prioritize first. Now, I also didn't talk about this yesterday, but there has been a reveal for this task, defeating the Lesser Demon in the Wizard's Tower. And this gives you minimum potential, which will increase your melee range and magic hits. The minimum hit will always be 5. So you can still miss your attacks, but you're not going to be hitting, ones, twos, threes, fours, and fives. And this is a pretty good damage relic considering it only requires you to kill the Lesser Demon. And that's the thing, though. You have to kill the Lesser Demon in the Wizard's Tower. And so you have this really interesting task where if you were living on your own private server, this would be the first thing that you would do. Like 100% of the time, you would instantly go, kill the demon with like water spells, get this, and now you're like already accelerated. However, you're dealing with thousands of people all at the start, and I've played so many different like MMOs with the crazy day one experience where people are lining up. There's definitely going to be people who are griefing, who are not so willing to wait in line on the very first hour. And it's especially important because the Wizard's Tower is multi-combat, which means that multiple people can hit the Lesser Demon, and because you're an Iron Man, you won't actually get kill credit if more than one person is hitting it, which means that again, if two people are very stubborn and they just want to sit there and attack it, well, you can't really do anything about that. You kind of either have to let them get their turn ahead of you, or you're going to be fighting them. So this is a very tough task to plan for because if you're starting late, it's almost like a catch up mechanism where like you'll be able to get this right away. But if you're starting day one, first hour, I would very much recommend you do not go for the lesser demon. I think it's kind of like the cornucopia in the Hunger Games, where you want to rush in there, you want to get that huge power, but it's just going to be a bloodbath. I'm sorry to tell you, you are not that guy. You are not going to make it out. Like, I'm sure one person is going to be the first person to get a kill, but like 99% chance that is not you watching this video. Okay, I'm sorry, but like, don't do it. Do not ruin your like. Don't ruin your leagues by trying to go and get the lesser demon kill. Like, I know this looks good. I know it's tempting, but it's not worth it. Okay. I always value strategies and routes that rely on consistency and like not very much friction, because I think especially when you're starting off day one, when there's that kind of early like adrenaline rush, seasonal mode and all that stuff. I think going down the path of least resistance, where you're not going to be competing with other people for resources, you're not going to be frustrated because there's a lot of people all at one spot. Those are things that I value a lot, and I would really encourage you to do that as well. And ultimately, I don't think your leagues is going to be determined on just this relic. Like, I don't think if you don't have this on the first like 20 minutes, like, I don't think you're going to be struggling that much. Like, there are other things you can focus on. For example, you can try to go for the Ogress kill, which does give you a pretty strong relic that lets you share some of your experience. And there's a lot more ogresses to deal with. There's a lot more safe spots. Or you can just try to rush some of your skilling stuff instead, something that doesn't rely on combat. So you're not really going to be getting the benefit of this anyways. Especially now that we know that getting a unique from Tombs of a Masket is going to be such a massive power spike. I would say that focusing on that as almost like your intermediary goal, or making that sort of like your plan, instead of over relying on just like, okay, am I going to kill that lesser demon day one? That is going to be a lot safer, a lot more consistent, and any kind of instance content tends to be a much more reliable option for these formats. Anyways, that's a big thing I wanted to talk about for today, as I know Tombs is going to be a very big priority for a lot of people. And getting your first mega rare, I think that that's going to be really, really enticing for people to really give the format like a proper try and start sending it. And if you had any doubts that like you're going to be struggling with some of the PVM content, trust me, once you hit that first mega rare, you're going to be absolutely blasting. And hopefully, I've convinced enough of you to not go for the lesser demon. That way, I can actually go myself and just get way ahead of all of you.